For 47 years, it has fallen. Voyager 2 is not merely a machine. It is a message in a bottle, thrown into the deepest, darkest ocean imaginable. Launched in 1977 from the humid coast of Florida, it was designed to execute the Grand Tour, a once-in-a-lifetime alignment of the outer planets. It was built to endure the cold, not to think, and certainly not to feel. Its mission was finite: visit Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and then fade quietly into history, a derelict monument to human curiosity. By the time it crossed the heliopause, the jagged, turbulent border where the sun's protective wind crashes against the crushing pressure of the galaxy, it was supposed to be a ghost, a blind, deaf collection of circuits drifting on momentum, carrying a golden record that no one would ever hear. We thought the silence of interstellar space was absolute. We thought the only things out there were dust, cosmic rays, and the terrifying absolute zero of the void. We were wrong. The silence wasn't empty. It was waiting. The anomaly began as a ghost in the telemetry, a subtle discordance in the song of the cosmos. It wasn't a sudden spike or a catastrophic failure that triggered the alarms at NASA, but something far more unsettling: a discrepancy. Deep within the archives of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where the walls hum with the cooling fans of supercomputers, the data stream from Voyager 2, a trickle of information taking nearly 19 hours to travel the billions of miles to Earth, began to show a sophisticated corruption. The probe's plasma wave subsystem, an instrument sensitively tuned to listen to the vibration of charged particles in the space between stars, picked up a disturbance that defied the known models of the interstellar medium. In the vacuum of deep space, objects do not simply sneak up on you. The laws of celestial mechanics are rigid, governed by gravity and inertia. If a rogue planet or a stray asteroid were nearby, it would be moving on a hyperbolic trajectory, whipping past the probe at tens of thousands of miles per hour. It would appear on the sensors, streak by, and vanish into the blackness. But the object Voyager detected did not pass. It lingered. Detailed analysis of the gravitational and magnetic variances suggested a mass located approximately 500,000 kilometers off Voyager's starboard vector. In the scale of the universe, where distances are measured in light years, this is less than a breath away. It is intimate. But the true terror lay in its velocity. The object was matching Voyager's speed perfectly. It was decelerating. In the interstellar medium, there is no friction to slow you down, no atmosphere to drag against a hull. To match the speed of a probe traveling at 34,000 miles per hour requires a continuous expenditure of energy. It requires propulsion. It requires intent. We labeled it the anomaly, a clinical name for a terrifying reality that the flight directors whispered about in the break rooms. Voyager 2 was being escorted. Imagine walking alone across a frozen, infinite tundra, turning around and realizing that for the last 1,000 miles, a wolf has been walking in your footsteps, stopping when you stop, moving when you move, breathing the same air. If the movement was alarming, the sound was paralyzing. Voyager 2 communicates via the Deep Space Network, DSN, a trio of massive radio antennas positioned in California, Spain, and Australia to ensure constant contact as the Earth rotates. In late 2023, the DSN station in Canberra, the only dish capable of reaching Voyager 2 due to its southern trajectory, received a packet of data that should not have existed. It appeared on the monitors as a standard systems check, but buried within the housekeeping data, the boring voltage readings and temperature logs, was a parasite. A signal had piggybacked onto Voyager's transmission. It wasn't background static or the random popping of cosmic radiation. It was a structured, repeating algorithm. When cryptologists and astrophysicists isolated the waveform, they found something that defied natural explanation. The signal was broadcasting on the 21-centimeter line, the frequency of neutral hydrogen, the most fundamental building block of the universe. But the frequency was inverted. It was a negative image of the universal constant, a base harmonic that mathematics suggests should be impossible to generate naturally. Visually, the binary code didn't resolve into numbers. When the data was fed into visualizers and plotted on a raster grid, it formed complex, recursive geometries. They looked like fractals, interlocking spirals and loops that mimicked the structure of a mesmerizing digital eye, or perhaps the cross-section of a nautilus shell made of pure math. This wasn't just noise. It was a language, dense and layered. And the most horrifying realization was the vector. The signal wasn't coming from Voyager's internal computer. It was being beamed at Voyager from close range, bouncing off its metallic hull and echoing back to us. The probe had become a passive relay for something else's voice, a mirror held up in the dark to reflect a message back to the sender's home. The horror deepened when we realized the signal wasn't staying in deep space. On Earth, radio telescopes in the southern hemisphere began to register a phantom pulse. It was faint, buried beneath the roar of cosmic background radiation, but it was there, undeniable and rhythmic. It pulsed in perfect synchronization with Voyager 2's transmission delays. This shattered the possibility of a localized sensor glitch on the spacecraft. A glitch happens inside the machine. It stays contained. This was happening to the fabric of space itself. The anomaly was capable of projecting its presence across billions of miles, creating a resonance that touched Earth directly. It was a mirror effect. Whatever was out there was catching our own radio waves, twisting them, and sending them back with a signature that said, "I see you." The signal was not a broadcast. It was a ping. It was the sonar of a predator mapping the cave where its prey was hiding. The most disturbing revelation came from a retired engineer who had worked on the Voyager 1 telemetry in the 1980s. He recognized the pattern in the fractals. He spent nights pulling dusty magnetic tapes from the physical archives, spooling through decades of forgotten data. And there, buried in the noise of 1980, he found it. A nearly identical data corruption from Voyager 1. Back then, we had dismissed it as a computer error, a bit flip caused by a stray cosmic ray hitting the memory banks. We were wrong. The Shepherd has been there the whole time. It examined Voyager 1, scanned its trajectory, found it wanting, and let it pass into the void. But with Voyager 2, it stayed. It locked on. It found something in the second probe that warranted a different response. The question that haunts the corridors of NASA and the intelligence agencies now is not what is out there, but why it has chosen to reveal itself now. Voyager has been in space for nearly half a century. It has drifted past the eyes of the solar system's giants without incident. Why did the anomaly wait until now to break silence? The leading theory is the most terrifying of all. It is called the threshold hypothesis. For decades, Voyager was just a dumb piece of metal, a primitive artifact of the 1970s, broadcasting simple analog waves. But recently, the signals we send to it, and the signals we broadcast into space generally, have changed. We are no longer sending simple commands. We are sending complex, encrypted digital packets. We are leaking the signature of artificial intelligence into the void. The anomaly didn't react to the spacecraft itself. It reacted to us. It reacted to the moment our species crossed a technological threshold, the moment our machine learning algorithms became advanced enough to decode the complex fractals it sent back. It wasn't hiding from us. It was waiting for us to be smart enough to hear it. It was a test, or perhaps a trigger. The moment we developed the capacity to understand the signal was the moment the signal became active. We effectively lit a signal fire in a dark forest, announcing that the inhabitants of Earth had finally reached a level of sophistication worthy of attention. Or perhaps, worthy of containment. Now, the data from Voyager 2 is erratic and unstable. The magnetometer shows wild fluctuations, indicating that the anomaly is manipulating the electromagnetic field around the probe. It is physically interacting with the craft, perhaps scanning its internal components, perhaps dismantling it atom by atom to understand how it works, or perhaps using it as a lens to look closer at the world that sent it. The object is no longer just tracking, it is closing the distance. The 500,000-kilometer gap is shrinking by the day. The predator is moving in for the kill, or perhaps for the capture. We sent Voyager 2 out as an ambassador of peace, a golden disc carrying music, laughter, and greetings in 55 languages. We hoped to find a neighbor who would appreciate Bach and Chuck Berry. Instead, we may have woken up a watchman who sees our culture not as art, but as data to be analyzed for threat assessment. The probe is currently 12.3 billion miles from Earth. It is alone in the dark, with something vast and impossible breathing down its neck, its radioactive heart slowly beating its last rhythm. And the truly chilling part isn't that Voyager 2 is in danger. The machine was always destined to die. The chilling part is that the anomaly knows exactly where the probe came from. By analyzing the trajectory, by listening to the phantom pulse, it has calculated the vector of origin with mathematical precision. It is following the breadcrumbs back to the source. We are no longer the observers of the universe, peering safely through our telescopes at distant stars. We are the observed. The silence is over. The long, protective isolation of humanity has ended. And whatever comes next, emerging from the dark space between the stars, we are not ready for it. The phone is ringing, and we cannot stop ourselves from answering.